Welcome to Say Smut, a literary podcast for readers and non-readers.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That is Sarah. She loves books.
That is Hope. She loves talking to me about books. Each episode, I break down the plots of some pretty wild books to Hope, who has not read them. And today, I'm going to keep things extra secretive, if you will, because it's spooky season. And what's more spooky than something that sneaks up on you when you least expect it? So instead of having Hope do something related to a research or doing a research related to the subject matter, I'm having her go in fully blind.
This has been shrouded in mystery. I have no idea what's about to happen.
I'm going to even start telling you about the book without telling you the title.
Wow.
Okay. So before we get started, I want to give some content warnings and I want to give the ratings of this book.
Okay.
So this book has a 2.63 on Storygraph, a 3.36 on Goodreads. We have read a book by this author before, Adrian Blue, back in episode 56 when we did The Bear's Mate, if you recall.
Yeah.
It was about, you were very weirded out about the bestiality of it all, which is kind of insane considering you did the unicorn one and made me listen to that. So
that was complicated and nuanced. There were illusions of a man at some point.
Okay, touche. But if you guys want to learn more about Adrian, I'm not going to recap her bio. You can go back to episode 56 for that.
And you should.
You should. And while you're going through things, go and check out our episodes from last week. We had a cute little pumpkin patch date that goes wrong. And and a demon that comes to Earth and finds his mate in an unexpected place. So go back, listen to those episodes, then join us again for this. But Hope,
Yes.
What we're going to do is I am going to start telling you the story without telling you what the entity is that we are going to be faced with today. When you are ready, and don't just like blindly start buzzing in, but when you are ready, buzz in and guess what our entity is. Okay. I don't want you to just start being like, it's this. I want you to put thought into your answer. Okay. So we are going to also do kind of a choose your adventure type story. So I typically ask you what you would do in certain situations, but we're going to play that game to the max for this. Okay. So I will be stopping quite often and asking for your input. Okay. So as we jump in, our main character, Sophie, is traveling solo and she just crossed from Northern California into Oregon. She's going down a narrow, winding 2-lane road and she hasn't seen another person for days. She's surrounded by trees and hears a distant, familiar noise. It sounds like a groan. What are you doing in this moment?
Point of clarification. Is Sophie outside walking? Like doing trails? Okay. And here's a familiar groan?
Yes.
Well, that's tricky because it's not familiar to me. So if I'm in the woods and I hear a groan, I'm going to quietly start to panic and look around and see who's around me and then try and start moving faster away from where I heard any kind of groaning. But if it's familiar to me, I guess I would turn towards the point of the groaning.
Interesting. Familiar also can mean like familiar just in knowledge. It doesn't mean like necessarily familiar in a good way, right?
Sure. I'm going to stick with what I originally would do, which is GTFO.
Yeah, for sure. So she starts running in the opposite direction of the noise and she's running through the trees. She's now off the path, right? And the noise is just getting louder and louder. She runs down this hill and she's hearing rustling in the branches nearby. So she just keeps running. Like she can't kind of tell where the noise is coming from anymore. She's just getting her ass out of there. She runs into a different road that is a dirt road and it goes in 2 different directions. What are you going to do?
Well, depends on the 2 different directions. If one is going towards the direction, if they're in neither of the directions I'm coming from, then I'm going to look around, and then try and triangulate, and then turn depending on what I think will bring me close to civilization.
Interesting. You're not, let's emphasize, you're not familiar with this area. So maybe you wouldn't know exactly what, like, how are you going to toss up the fact that there are two different directions you can go in?
I'm still gonna try and like look up at, I don't know, how is it nighttime or daytime? Nighttime?
Good question. I don't think we know, actually. I'm going to say daytime because she's counting in like what's happening around her. So I think she can see.
I mean, if there's a dirt road, I'm gonna look down either way. If there's any way I can triangulate which way is gonna be closest to where people are, I'm just gonna go that way. If it's nighttime, I'm gonna see if I can see like any sort of light from a town or a thing like in the sky, reflected in the sky, where it's like which direction it's a little bit brighter than the other one, and go in that direction.
No, that's so fair. We actually don't know what direction she goes. She just starts following the road. It just tells us she follows the road. She can tell that this thing is tracking her. I'm not sure how she knows that, but I guess the fact that like she just hears it following her to some degree, but she keeps walking, right? Or she's like kind of low key jogging, whatever. She's not full out sprinting yet, which is kind of surprising, but okay. So she starts thinking about dying at the hands of one of these things and believes it's the worst way to die. What do you think could kill you that you think would be like the worst?
I mean, that's a really hard question, Sarah. So many different things. Shark bite, awful. Mauled by a bear, not great. Fire, bad. Let's talk supernatural. Vampires, if they just drain your blood but don't make you a vampire, bummer. Don't love that. Not so bad though, maybe.
I feel like you'd pass out from blood loss, right?
For sure. Like, yeah, like maybe that's the easiest way to go. Werewolves sounds like an ouch. So I would say most of them, because the only way that doesn't sound bad is going peacefully in my sleep.
I do think like when you play the would you rather games, and they'll say like, would you rather be trapped with like, you know, a lion, or like, you know, like they like put you in these detrimental fatal situations. I always think like, you brought up a shark, I'm like, at least like with a lion or gorilla or a, you know, bear, you're on land, you both can breathe air. Like with a shark, you can get dragged under and you could die from so many things, including,
I could just straight up drown from the exhaustion of trying to get away from a shark.
Precisely.
Who would then catch up and eat me, which is double sad.
Exactly. And so anyway, all right, let's jump back in. So she starts thinking about dying. She's like, you know what? No, I need to stay positive. We're going to keep going. So finally she comes across this cozy little cabin that's overcome with like weeds and vines. What's your first move when you get there? What are you doing first?
Look to see if anyone lives there, or if it looks like anyone lives there.
Okay, touche. Okay, let's
before
make it very
just
clear.
Walking in. Like if there's any windows, doesn't matter. Even if it looks really abandoned, still gonna check inside for people before I walk inside.
That's so courteous. So she goes in and she needs to clear the house to make sure there's no danger in there. Like there's none of these entities lurking within. Once she confirms that it's all clear, she sees that there's a cot left there. Pretty much everything else was taken. So whatever person was living there before took everything with them.
Right.
How are you sleeping? I mean, like at some point you've got to sleep, right? Like
right. You have
how
to
are you
try.
sleeping?
I mean, thankfully there's this cot. You have to try. I guess I don't really have a lot. I'm assuming she doesn't have a lot of stuff on her. So like if they had something that could make a like calming and peaceful amount of noise, I would be able to maybe fall asleep that way. Or if I could at least like focus on a noise in the forest that wasn't freaking me out that I could find peaceful, maybe I could use that to focus on it and fall asleep in a cot. You gotta try and go to sleep.
Yeah, you have to sleep.
But I would have a hard time going to sleep.
And like sound at this point is going to attract, to attract this thing. So it's like you can't really board the doors or anything, you know, you can't hammer something in. It's like you kind of got to let things be. So do you just like hold a knife under your pillow and pray? Like,
yeah,
I guess like there's really no option here. Okay. So somehow she gets a good night's rest there. Not sure.
Good for her.
But she finds a map and sees that there's a town 5 miles down the way. Okay.
Okay.
So she's like, I'm going to head in that direction in the morning. She heads there and narrowly misses the entity that is out there. And once she gets there, she realizes most of the place has been burned down.
Dang.
Do you want to phone in what you think, or like buzz in what you think is happening here?
I mean, it's sounding a little apocalyptic. I'm gonna hold out to make any guesses.
Okay. You're gonna have to guess soon because we're gonna get to the crux of the meeting.
Great.
So I'm just letting you know it's gonna become painfully obvious.
I'm gonna keep thonking on it, and then we'll get to a part where I ultimately have to decide, and I'll throw out an answer.
Yeah. I just want you to guess it before it becomes painfully obvious because I think you'll be able to. So okay. So most of the stuff is burnt down, whatever. But there's a couple, like a historic district that's going to have the old brick buildings that can survive fires and stuff. So she finds a law office that's there, and she's like, I'm going to crash here, but I'm going to see if there's any resources I can, scope out. So there's a couple stores that have been untouched. What if you have come across a town that is completely empty and you're going to do some shopping essentially? What are you hoping is going to have, some goods that you can scavenge?
I mean, if not an outright grocery store, I'm trying to think of other types of stores that can also have snacks. So like a hardware store is going to be top notch, I think, first bet for both. Maybe having some random snacks, maybe even having some camping equipment, like a couple of things, and also having tools you could use as weapons. Gas station.
Casey's would be really good. Really
now. Clutch. Although if the whole town's burned down, I'm not quite sure they're going to have breakfast pizza for me there.
Oh, true.
Maybe it's my favorite. It's my favorite. Yeah, just like, and I think food and clothing, if I don't have sufficient clothing for whatever the elements are. And
good point.
It seems like maybe weapons are needed. So
yeah, because we're in the Pacific Northwest. At this point, it's going to be chilly. It doesn't matter what time of year you have.
Ooh, like a bait and tackle might be a good place to go.
Yeah, I agree. Any sort of like fishing or outdoor hobby store at this point would be really good.
And REI would be so clutch.
You also know that they would have like the packaged food that would last 25 years.
100%. Just like and freeze-dried stuff.
Yeah. So she does find a military surplus store, which never heard of that.
Oh, you really? Yeah. No, that's about the most perfect store you could probably find.
Okay. I mean, like, I thought it was very convenient for this
it's
small
super
town
convenient.
or whatever, but who am I to say?
There's one, I think, in Iowa City or Coralville.
Oh, interesting.
Or there was one.
So, like, who's going to this store? Is it like, if it's a military surplus store, what does that mean?
People who like that stuff and use it. I don't.
Okay.
Not me.
Believe you.
I've never been inside. I just know there is one.
Cool. Okay. So she realizes it's pretty much untouched, which means that everyone died before they could stock up on anything from the store, which
that's bad.
That's pretty rough.
Bad.
Anyway, so she watches out the window of her law office that she is staking out in and sees one of the entities starting to cross the street. And just as she's holding her breath, it starts wandering away. And she considers walking out into the street and just letting it kill her, And then she's like, maybe not,
Maybe not. I just found this military surplus store.
Suddenly, a noise comes from the wall that borders between the law office and the ice cream parlor next door. What are you doing? What are you doing when that noise happens?
Are we in either the law office or the nearby ice cream parlor?
We are in the law office. Yes, we've gone and gotten supplies.
Okay, who's like? How do we know about that?
Yeah, no, we've gotten the supplies. We are now staking out like next to the reception desk of the law office.
Try and find I don't know. Depends on how loud and how close the sound through the wall is. If I can get up to like a different place and hide and stake out and listen, then I would do that.
Yeah.
That's what I
That's
would do.
that's fair. I'll also let you know right now she does have a knife that we know of. I don't know if she has anything else, but we do know she has a knife. So she does have a sense of a weapon. Um, so she goes very, very silent, but the noises become more and more frantic. And so she's like backing up and she bumps her hip against the desk and it makes a very loud thudding noise,
I do
which
that all the time.
only makes these things become more and more crazy trying to get in. And now they are coming from multiple angles. They're coming from the front door.
Okay, it's gotta
From
be zombies, right?
we are for sure in a zombie
Okay,
apocalypse.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. I knew we'd get there. Let me, since you've now guessed, because I have a note here, when Hope guesses correctly, I'm going to take you all the way back to the beginning. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
And take you to where we're at now.
Mhm.
So first of all, she was in her hometown when the apocalypse took over. She holed up for the first couple of weeks with her parents and a few of their close neighbors. And a couple of them died. Like we hear about one of them dying from a natural cause, like from pneumonia. Like it's not like they died
Sure.
from the
Yeah, it's just, like,
apocalypse.
trying to
But
live in the elements or whatever.
yeah. And we understand that that person died back in February. And so they imply that this whole apocalypse has happened within the year. Okay. So it's been a short-term, thing. This is not like The Walking Dead where it's been years now and we understand,
No, this is new.
this very fresh. So they all got split up though when a giant horde attacked the area that they were staying. So she got split up from her parents and she has kind of accepted that it's very likely her parents have died. She's like not holding out hope.
Right.
And so she was also told to avoid the coastline by her parents because they said that a bunch of people, when the apocalypse happened, they fled in the direction of the coastline. So now there's a heavy population of zombies over there. And she is safer being inland. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah,
it makes
yeah,
sense
yeah.
that you wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah.
Unless everybody thought they had access to boats, I don't know why they would go to ocean. But
Yeah.
not my
also,
apocalypse.
I realize I never gave the content warnings, and before we go too much deeper, I do want to give those.
Zombies.
So as I previously mentioned that there was a death, and we're going to talk a little bit about body gore because it is zombies.
Mhm.
And I should also reveal to you the title of our book, which is Taken by the Zombie Horde.
Oh no, the whole horde?
The whole horde, yes.
Holy cow.
Yes, this is essentially a gangbang. But there's also going to be sexual context, and then it's questionable consent, right?
Sure.
Because it's going to be a zombie, it's going to be zombies, and it's going to be a human, and clearly they are coming for her right now in the scene we're in. And I just need everybody to remember that this is a piece of fiction, that to the audience, she very much wants this because we are going to get into this here in a second of her view of the zombies.
Yeah. At first they were coming for her, but now they're coming.
They're
for her.
coming for her. So I understand that if you read this book, you might be like, consent, oi. But yes, that is a part of this book. But we are going to suspend our belief, and power through, because everybody in the book does end up wanting what's going to happen. Okay.
Amazing.
So she, like I said, she's safer inland, but she just came from San Jose where she had been hiding out with another couple, but they got overtaken by a horde. And as the author writes, the only thing left of them was the blood smears on the pavement.
Devastating.
Yeah. So lots of death, lots of destruction happening. And when she was reflecting on the worst way to die, she thinks zombies are the worst way to die because they are so slow in eating their prey. They could take hours for their victims to bleed out and actually die. So you could be sitting there being consumed by zombies. And
such a long time.
Yes. And while she's completely terrified of the zombies, She slowly become fascinated by them. Quote, her heart still beat faster at seeing them, but it was only partially in fear. Sometimes she thought she saw a little human intelligence in their eyes, maybe a little life inside their eyes. But she also recognizes that's probably just because she's touch deprived and she's been so lonely for so long.
Understandable. It's hard to hook up when it's the actual little zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, they're coming in from all sides of this law office. She's very scared, but she's also like, what is going to happen? Am I going to face death? Should I run? She's kind of tossing up all of her options, but it is not long until they are completely flooding the room. And for some reason, God only knows why, she immediately drops her knife and it is completely forgotten.
In fear, obviously.
Fear or anticipation.
Did you ever drop stuff when you're horny?
Yeah, I mean, you
Trow.
might as
Drop
well.
in trow.
So she scampers backward, but they quickly grab onto her, and now they are dragging her toward the massive horde that is in this law office. They're all trying to get on her, and she just can smell how rotten they are. It's just stench. In the air.
To me, it sounds bad.
Yeah. And they're like gnashing their teeth at her. And suddenly a gummy, toothless mouth clamps down on her nipple and starts to suck. Which,
all right,
I have a couple notes. Okay. Already. So logically speaking,
it's not for me.
No. Okay. I mean, I think you and I both know that we would not wish this upon anybody, but if zombies are decaying, most of the time you'll see a zombie and they will have, I don't know, like part of their cheek gone.
Right. Like maybe no nose at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to believe that their innards are also decaying. So like, do they even have a full lung that they can take in or suck in breath? Could they really suck on your nipple? Or like if you have a hollow cheek,
maybe just kind of gnawing on it.
Just toothlessly gnawing.
Just kind of gumming at it.
Ugh. I hate that you said that. Gumming at it. Oh God. Okay. Well, immediately she's experiencing pleasure.
Wow.
Yeah, which is
we know she's touch derived.
Yes.
Deprived. Holy cow.
Deprived, derived.
So she came from touch and she would like some more.
Yes. And she's very confused by this feeling because the horde is starting to pull off her clothes, and now multiple of them are like playing with her tits. And she's like, interesting turn of events.
They're not hungry, they're horny.
That's what they've needed this whole time.
They're zombies for sex.
Okay, here's my question, because obviously she's been in this zombie apocalypse for a while now. She's witnessed people die. Like, I want to know, is this like a special club of zombies? Are these zombies, the horny ones? Like, is there a strain of zombie?
The organ zombies that are super, super horned up? Or is that a universal trait amongst all zombies everywhere? I don't know.
And how did they find each other? How are they like, why is it not like Todd is the odd one out trying to fondle her boobs, but the rest of them are trying to kill her? You know what I mean?
Are they not into each other? Because that would be devastating if the whole time they're just trying to chase down people because they're horny, but they're not into each other.
It's a very complex poly tree that we don't understand.
Much to consider.
Clearly. So their hands are cold as they're pawing on her, and many of them are taking turns like quickly fingering her, and then feasting on her juices. It's taking a very zombie approach, not necessarily to her like meat and bones, but like
they're not eating her
to
flesh.
her juices. Yes. Sure. Yes. They're also taking turns like going down on her, like taking a lick or two and then handing it off to the next one. And they even start fingering her ass, which is an interesting say smut moment of like, okay, you guys were really fixated on the juice element, and now we're going for the ass play, which is not what I had expected for this
fascinating
book.
Stuff.
Yeah. So she thinks that they're going to bite her and turn her into a zombie. So she has like a level of fear, but none of them do. So she gets like a false sense of security because none of them are doing that. It's like her psyche is like completely whacked out. She's like, why is this happening? But also I love this. And she completely understands that at any moment she could die, but she would really like to get off first.
Yeah, at the very least.
At the very least. She was like, you know what? I don't even care if these are my final moments. Please give me an orgasm. So, from what I understand, there is kind of one zombie that becomes the main man in charge. Other than him, we do not know the gender identities of the other zombies who are in this gang bang hangout.
Statistically, I choose to believe all genders are.
I do too. I like to believe that we're going to have that be a part of our inclusivity moment. So the one in charge takes his dick out, which I'm not really sure, is he wearing pants or what are we wearing, but doesn't matter. And his penis is described as, quote, huge and molted in the early stages of decay.
That's tough. That's tough.
He immediately starts fucking her, which she loves because she's highly sensitive. She's had at least one orgasm and his dick is super cold. So it's very sensitive down there. Okay. It even describes his decomposing balls slapping against her.
Not too hard or they're going to fall off.
Oh, trust me. She then goes on to say that she's so tight, she's a little worried that her vagina will tear the dick from his decomposing body.
Me too, babe, because anything could fall off at any time.
Yeah, I'm also worried about like the open wounds, the amount of infection. I mean, like, okay, if it takes a bite, you know, to to change somebody into a zombie, an open wound on a dick, is that not going to do something?
Look, I don't know the science of zombies. Sure. I don't know if being a zombie is sexually transmitted or not.
That's true.
I'm not a scientist, nor am I a doctor.
Yeah. So he then quickly changes from screwing her vagina to screwing her ass. Meanwhile, the others are now paying attention to fingering her. And some of them, even from what I understand of the description, they're like essentially laying underneath her with open mouths to catch any of the dripping juices.
Fascinating.
Really interesting take. I at least know of 2 orgasms that she has, but it kind of all becomes a blur. So I'm not sure exactly how many orgasms she ends up having. She does lose track of time. And hours turn into days, and days turn into weeks.
Just coming some more.
Yeah. We are at the end of our book. Would you like to guess what we're going to end on?
Well, I just had so many different options rolling in my mind. I suppose that they're just gonna. No, I really don't know. I was like, are they gonna just have sex forever? And I'm like, surely they'll decay, right? And also, surely she'll get tired and need to eat, right? So maybe she has sex with them all until they all just fall apart, and then she just goes.
That's an interesting take. I like that. Unfortunately, that is not what happens.
Okay.
I'm going to just directly quote this from the book. Quote, she slept or ate when the horde left to hunt and surrendered herself to them when they returned. Thoughts of her family eventually faded to be replaced with what the horde brought her. Devastating pleasure and overwhelming ecstasy, and an end to her loneliness. The end.
Wow, good for her.
Really ominous ending, if you ask me.
So yeah, I forgot conceptually that my family ever existed.
It's almost like she became a zombie to the pleasure.
Yeah, mentally a zombie. I'm gonna tell you straight up, Sarah. I've tried to draw stick figure zombies on several pages. They all look horrifying and nothing like zombies. I can't even show this.
That's okay. That's okay. You know what? They can't all be winners. They can't all be winners. even the best
I haven't
fail
even.
sometimes.
I will send you the most complete version, which is that I got 3 stick figures in and was like, none of this looks like zombies and everything looks scary, because I felt like since I was originally going to do so many zombies, stick figures was the best way to do it. But I found out that stick figures is the most scary way to do it. This is just,
Oh, Lord.
see what I mean? I
Yeah,
was like,
no, I do see what you mean.
how
That is
do I-
terrifying.
how
She
do-
looks petrified, if anything.
I know. And I was like, well, that doesn't look like she's having a good time. And she's supposed to be having a great time.
She is.
I'll show you every time I tried to draw a zombie face and then immediately bailed and bailed and bailed.
Please.
And bailed.
Please, all I want is the photos. Well, that is our book. I felt like we had never done a zombie book, and it was time. And I it definitely went in directions I felt like were going to happen based on the
Sure.
title.
Sure.
And then it went in directions that I didn't need to happen.
Like finger up the butt.
That's not even the most concerning part to me.
No, it's just a direction.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about the mouths on the tits. I'm concerned about the open wounds.
I'm concerned about the longevity of all of these lovers, but I'm happy that allegedly, maybe being a zombie can't be STD transmitted. Heaven forbid anybody bite her even a little bit in some sort of foreplay, though, because end game.
I will also say my appreciation to Adrian Blue for acknowledging the fact that his dick would also be decaying. Don't give us a perfect dick. Thank you. That the fact that they probably wouldn't have teeth and stuff. You know what I mean? They've really thought this. They all agree with me. Ruthie agrees with me. She's like, I found that to be the worst part too. And the fact that she was even concerned that her vagina would tear his dick off. You know?
We were all. This is Ruthie. Ruthie's still concerned. Look, we can all agree that was the most logical character has maybe been in a book in a while.
Yes,
is that the character and me and Sophie together were like, will this fall off?
And the fact that they never got off. To our knowledge, the zombies never ejaculated.
We have no idea if that's how. I would assume
no.
I
would assume no, because they're undead. So they shouldn't have that.
It's different from an Edward Cullen where you maintain your potency the moment you become the creature you are.
Exactly. And I do think too, okay, if we're thinking about this, even if we wouldn't have to worry about, pregnancy or anything like that, because that isn't a part of the conversation, even with this type of monster.
Yes, true. But don't worry, when you ask me how I thought it was going to epilogue end, I always consider pregnancy, but then I have to remember whether or not Sarah mentioned it as a trigger warning. And if she didn't, it's probably not pregnancy.
That is so true. So with that said, diversity, I will say we don't get a physical description of anybody other than the dicks. But like we said, I like to believe that the Horde, all different identities. Yeah,
me too. One of my stick figures has long hair because I was going to make them all kinds of identities.
Great.
Excellent. Before I was like, this is a bad picture.
And to note on, you were talking about epilogues. I really liked your idea that they would all like fall apart.
Yes.
And then what if she was like, my vagina is the cure.
The key to ending the zombie apocalypse. They will fuck me to permanent death.
Yes. Okay, let's jump into the rest of the scorecard. Plot. You could say that our plot was her loneliness. She had obviously traveled through a couple different places of the apocalypse.
Well,
she started with them.
She started with family and friends. She lost some along the way. We learned.
Yeah. I think the primary thing was she was trying to escape them, and then they come for her, and then she ends up finding a place with them.
Yeah, turns out the community was the zombies we saw along the way.
So true. I'm giving it a 3.5. What are you going to give it?
I will give it a 4.
Interesting. Okay. Smut, I will say, for being a 17-page book, and, half of it was the group sex. of it all and the description that we got. I know I didn't provide enough of it, but it was also a little horrifying to read. I'm going to give it a 4.
Nice.
What are you going to give it?
Yeah, I'll back you up on that. It sounds like 4 content. I didn't realize we should always mention how many pages it is.
That's so true.
That's so impressively brief.
Yeah, about 17 to 20 pages, I think it was. So, yeah, for being 17 pages, I'll give it to, and I give it up for the, the ending. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but for the plot, like the ending, kind of being surprising.
I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. In our document, you have a link to our wonderful photo.
I do.
Look, it's a 5 for me. I'll say that. I don't know what else you could want from this cover.
It's wonderfully detailed. The
Yes.
background photo, very
Yes.
gray, very destroyed old city, rubble everywhere, and zombies. I would say, I mean, I don't really watch Walking Dead because apocalypses stress me out, and so zombie
Mhm.
apocalypses stress me out. But I would say they look like Walking Dead type zombies. They're not like cartoony. They're like legit.
Yeah.
At least one of them looks legit. There's a guy in the corner who looks a little too normal. He looks a little
Yeah.
goofy, but so they're all in the background, and then up front we have Sophie. She's the only one in full color, brunette, wearing a red long sleeve shirt, just kind of touching her neck, and her eyes are closed, and she just kind of has her head tilted up, and she must just be thinking about these good zombies, or how alone she is. In any case, it's by Adrian Blue, and up top it says "Taken by the Zombie Horde,"
Yes.
and it's beautiful.
I think for being an indie author and throwing something together that felt realistic and tonally correct.
For a 14 to 20 page book, no less.
Yeah. What are you going to give it? I'm giving it a 5.
Giving it a 5.
Great.
It's great.
I ended up at 83%. You ended up at 86%. That's a pretty good score, if I may say so.
Pretty good.
What is your final Say Smut moment from our book?
Probably the part where eventually they sexed her so hard she forgot her family and friends.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably correct. And again, I've already listed off the other things that I find say smutty about this. I do think like at some point, I'm surprised that she got like trapped in somewhere after that long. Like I feel like you would know, you would have an escape route.
I wonder if at any point she could convince the Horde to relocate to not a law office.
Yeah, I'm sure they moved around. They had to because they had to go hunting.
Houses or mansions by chance.
Yeah, give me a full bed. Give me a king size bed.
Plot twist: we do go to the coast. We find a mansion.
Ooh,
and also there's a bunch more zombies, more people. We bring them in.
Yeah. I think it's already a very complex poly situation, though, I will say.
Or maybe it's simple because it's one big horde.
True. Well, folks, that is our story. Please rate us on the platform that you are listening and follow us on Instagram or TikTok at saysmutpodcast. And in the meantime, be resourceful.
Hey, and find your horde.
That's all you need in life.
That's all you need.
In the meantime, stay smutty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.